In this episode, I have a big announcement concerning minigames and what happened, or in this case, what didn't happen on this last Super Minigame Saturday. And then we're going to take a look at how viewers felt about the recent announcement of the reskin or reimagining of the artwork for Atlas Earth. If this sounds interesting to you, please stand by. Hey, all you Atlas Earthlings. Welcome back once again. Bronze Dragon here saying thanks for dropping by. As always, I appreciate the time you spend with me. Please consider leaving a like on the video if you like this kind of coverage, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you have, appreciate it. Well, we're in June now. That means the new challenge ladder has begun. I've got off to an okay start. I'm at about 500 to 600 points. I've noticed several big changes, and if you've been playing, you will have seen these. You know, the total needed to complete the ladder went from 1,500 points up to 1,700. Does this make it a lot harder? Not really, but it does make it a decent amount harder. It'll take me several more days to complete the ladder. But another big change I saw or have encountered is with the mini games. They've increased the number of wins needed for the mini games, and you know, with the addition of rock paper scissors and the addition of the Super Mini Game Saturday, which I don't know how often is going to happen. I'm guessing once a month. We just had it last weekend, and here's the big news item. Let's go ahead and shift over to the web page. So the big news item I wanted to get out to you is the fact that this last Super Mini Game Saturday, which would have been the first one for a lot wider audience. In other words, there was the first one, which was just the United States, and that was just a test. And then this one, this last weekend, went out to a lot of other places. It was supposed to be available for the entirety of the UK, but what happened was only those in England were able to play. So that left out Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland. So what they came out with was an announcement today that said, hey everyone, we owe you a quick apology. Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland were accidentally left off of last weekend's Super Mini Game Saturday rotation. We know that's frustrating, and we're sorry about the oversight. So they're going to run a special Super Mini Game Saturday just for those places. So if you're in Northern Ireland, Wales, or Scotland, this coming up Saturday, you will have a Super Minigame Saturday to make up for it. So we're talking about June the 7th, and this is going to be in your local time. So 10 a.m. to 10:30, you can expect Atlas Golf, 3 to 3:30 p.m. Bowling, and 6 to 6:30 p.m. fishing. So that's a good announcement. I mean, everybody was talking about this weekend. What was the deal? You know, they said UK was going to be part of the event, and only England was. So here's your answer. So that's the big news item I have for today. So as far as the changes that have happened with the challenge ladder, we'll just play through it and see how it goes. You know, I think this makes it harder, definitely, especially those who are playing free to play. It'll probably make it a lot harder on them. You know, it's a toss-up. You know, the points have went up, but they've also added an extra minigame, and they've also added Super Minigame Saturday. It remains to be seen how often we see that happen. Maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, who knows? But we'll see. Let me know in the comments what you think about those changes. But you know what? There were a lot of people that were completing this challenge ladder within a day or two, and then going on the boards and bragging about it. Oh, this is too easy. This is too easy. You know, well, guess what? It's too easy. You can thank them. They're starting to make it harder. But as always, they're looking at the numbers in the background, and they're adjusting it. Obviously, they want to try to find that fine line between making more profit for the company and making people happy as far as getting their subscription value out of that challenge ladder. So let me know in the comments what you think, and let's go ahead and dive in. A few days ago, I made a video, and we can scroll up here. This is the video. Atlas Earth just changed everything. Major update breakdown. And it was pretty popular for my videos as far as they go. Got a lot of comments. So I wanted to go ahead and jump in and take a look at what people had to say. We also discussed this on the live stream, which we have Sunday at noon Eastern time here on YouTube. If you want to jump in with us, we discuss Atlas Earth every Sunday at noon for about an hour. Talk about what's going on. A lot had been said this past Sunday. You can check out that replay of that live stream stream as well. But let's check out the comments, see what everybody has to say. First of all, we have Crypto Limbo says the only thing I think you missed was the statement that the rewards would go up. Hopefully, a rent increase on parcels would be great, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to increase rent. As always, if you look at the terms of service, they have the right to modify and regulate, all the math that goes on in the background, what we're paid out, how many ads we watch, etc., like that. Everything can be modified, and obviously the idea is to keep the game going. If they have to modify it to be able to keep the game going, I don't see them increasing rent, but I could be wrong. Anything is possible. Okay, we have David Tordo says, hopefully this makes a difference to loading, as currently I often have the load screen freeze and have to force close the app and reopen it to fix it. Yeah, I think I've said this in the video, but I think that one of the main reasons behind this, and like I said, I have no connection with the company and I have no background information, but just kind of from an idea of dealing with games over the years, is that a lot of people are talking about on the boards and everything having problems opening the game, and this may be due to problems with the code. The code's not running efficiently, and looking at the new art style, it seems to be an art style that will run better on phones. Maybe require less battery usage, which would cut down what people talk about getting the phone really hot and such like that. The current textures are I want to say old school type, but more realistic looking, but they might take more graphics power to load than the more cartoonish. So it's give or take. It's all really a personal choice, but I think that's one of the reasons behind taking the code, making it more efficient, and coming up with a graphical reskin that's easier to run on phones. Okay, Brian Hall says, we know the game is doing well with the cost we pay. I didn't really reply to that because the cost we pay is our time, right? Watching ads. Of course, some people actually buy stuff in game, and that's fine. Everybody plays a little bit different. I don't really pay money into the game other than the rent that I earn and I put back into the game as far as my challenge ladder subscription. But everybody plays different. Kev Dog Millionaire says, excited for the revamp. Atlas Earth is here to stay. Well, he's pretty psyched up about that. Some people like it. As far as how long it's here, it's a game. Play it like a game. Don't play it like an investment. That's what I always say. And in fact, that's what it says in the terms of service. So Symbian Ministry says, yep, I got a Diamond Hunt wheel just after midnight last night in UK when I did my 5 spins. Also have the new Atlas Arcade graphic. Yeah, this was going to the changes that are starting to stream into the game. Who knows when they're going to come in, but this last week we saw the update to the spinning wheel. It got updated to a compass, a spinning compass, and they took the Atlas Arcade and those artworks on that page and made them larger. So, but don't be surprised if you see new stuff coming into the game as time goes along, in other words. 1012 Markey says, by the looks of the new minigame tab, shows reward bucks, badge, and some energy looking things. So looks like they may add more rewards alongside bucks to some minis. Yeah, but also at the same time, this is referring to the artwork that artist had presented on the video. And I think that they were showing not necessarily what was planned, but what could happen. These are just ideas, and I think they're in the phase of coming up with new ideas for the reskin, and it's not necessarily saying we're going to get these extra rewards. It's just showing that artwork has room there and the possibility for those. So don't count your chickens before they're hatched, but the possibility is there, and it seems like they're tossing around ideas for the reward. Okay, Rigatoni Jacob says, would be cool to purchase buildings on parcels as a stacked parcel for twice the rent. Would allow your home base, so to speak, to be developed. Yeah, I like that idea. I play other games where I own land, and in a lot of these games, you have the option to develop that land somehow, put a house on it, put a workshop, somehow put something on it that would cost you something, more Atlas bucks or whatever, but also increase your rent, kind of like an LPU, but with a slightly different take to it. I haven't heard them mention anything about that. I like the idea, but I haven't heard them mention anything like that. I think it's a good idea, though. Milk Thug says, this is dope. Been waiting for graphic overhaul and UI update. So they're on board liking the update. Beer Money Engine, Pharaoh Silver over there says, I like the layout, honestly. It's going to take a minute to pronounce this. Zetsubal Lurks Within says, I hope the art rework will optimize the game in the sense that my phone won't constantly be on fire. Yeah, we were talking about that a minute ago. After being in app for more than 5 minutes at a time, I feel like my phone has been slightly less hot over the months I played this game, but I just hope eventually it won't need as much of the internal memory to process everything. If you can do an hour of minigames and I don't feel like I permanently shorten my battery life, then this artwork rework is something I fully support. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that's one of the things behind this rework. Crypto Bobby O's gives Atlas Earth 5 stars. Happy Camper says, I'm excited for the changes, but the astronaut and not having it on the map is kind of bummer. Kind of a bummer. I've grown to like the astronaut. Hope they keep avatars on the map. I hope they keep an avatar, and I hope it's customizable like we've been talking about. But it seems like they're walking away from the astronaut, more to a explorer type thing to go along with the Atlas Explorer Club. We will see, though, because on the test artwork they had shown, it just showed like a triangle, or some people were saying it looked like a yield sign. Okay, Fatal X Who says, I think it just looks out of place because everything else needs to be changed to have it fit the aesthetic they are going for. I think when it's all done, the game will be a smoother and maybe just cleaner and more mainstream for new players. Yeah. Good point. One of the other points was kind of updating the look to attract more and perhaps younger players who like that style. I likened it to, if you've ever played Clash of Clans, the artwork looks very much like that. Okay, Heidi Chalfont says, I like the new art. I just hope that they give us some new amp like they said they would. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, that's still on the list to be worked on or to come out this year. Haven't heard anything about it. Of course, I'm still waiting on the edited version of the AMA from last week to come out. I didn't get to attend that because I was at work, but we'll see about that. So, Gaming Tryhard says, hey man, I loved Clash of Clans way back in the day. Thanks for the video. Not sure how I feel about this artwork, but really need to wait and see how it comes out. Thanks for the video again. How's saving for the next tier jump going for you? It's kind of off topic here, but my tier jump saving for June didn't get to where I wanted to. I'm still currently in the mode of saving. I need a couple more thousand Atlas bucks before I can do my tier jump for June and incorporate it into my challenge ladder. So I haven't done any buy parcel challenges yet. Holding on that for right now. Okay, let's see here. The Vampire of Miley says, be able to turn parcels into an online business, buy a certain amount and write paperwork, and boom, online business with the parcels, seller's license. Yeah, I didn't really get what that comment was about. As far as I know, the only thing you can do, I had somebody else ask me about that this week. You cannot sell parcels for outright for money. You can sell them for Atlas bucks, but not for money. Currently in game. Only One Christ says the spin wheel is bugged after update. 5 spins, all 1 Atlas bucks. Never had that ever. I've had that happen once. I don't think it's necessarily bugged, but we've had a few people say that after the new wheel came out, it gave them like all of one denomination. I didn't have that happen myself. So, and of course, I've been playing for 13 months now, and I've had all 1 Atlas buck one time, and I've had all 1 diamond one time as well. So it happens. Not that great when it happens, but it does happen. That's kind of like getting a really good. I haven't had the 50 Atlas bucks in several months. So. Southern Coin Hunter says, I noticed the wheel without doing the update. So they got the update to their game without actually going to manually update the game. A lot of people may have auto updates turned on, and that could have been the reason. Culp for Arkansas Rocket League says, what happens to your parcel related artwork? Will it still be visible in the new version? I don't know. In fact, I put the question into one of the mods to see. Obviously, I think it's too early to tell now. I think that if I think a lot of people would be unhappy if the update ruined their parcel art. But I don't have a specific answer for that. When I hear back, I will put out a short video on that or incorporate it into another video. Munson says, so long as they keep the astronaut, I don't care what they do. Well, I don't think, from what we see, I don't think they're keeping the astronaut. Of course, anything is possible, right? Marcus Albrecht says, seems the redesign is pretty expensive because they also lowered the rent boost to 8%. Well, and I replied back to this. This is just because they went over tier, exceeded their tier, and I explained to them about that and gave them some links. So, Draymond Lucky says, has the arcade and spinning wheel changed now only? I'm wondering if the map itself also changed yet in the United States. Nope. It's just the spinning wheel and the ads got bigger for arcade and such. No, as far as I know, nothing else has been put out, especially the map. I imagine that's the biggest update. I imagine that over time, some small updates will happen and we'll notice certain things are being updated and then they'll do the big one. So, but I imagine they will announce that. Dan Hall says, wondering what the purple lightning bolt symbol is on the warship info. Yeah, I think it goes back to they're just testing things out. They were given an example that they have multiple areas there. They can add artwork. I don't think it's anything to read into right now, and I don't think it's anything that is specifically going to be added to the game right away. This is something that they would tell us about if they were adding, subtracting, putting in extra things for the games or whatever. They would announce that first. I think this was just a picture showing what could be done and some graphical representation of some icons. So I wouldn't read too much into it. Hey, it's Sherry. Says, I thought you are here marker was a yield sign. Yeah, it kind of looked like a yield sign. Dragons says, I'm the second comment. I just hit 10 cents. Nice. Yeah, it starts out slow, but keep with it. And it's like a snowball going downhill. It gains momentum as time goes along. Midnight Fangs says, are the pictures just concept art or is it the way it's going to look? I asked because where the mini games are in the video, it showed you could win a badge. Yeah, this is going back to my original comment. It's like I said, don't read too much into it. This is all just concept art. Until you see it in game, it's all concept. So don't take anything. If they're adding anything to mini games, they will announce it, and then we'll know about it. The Ponager, the Ponage Power. Okay, add more stores to the AMP program or even be able to scan. Okay, so they didn't like the fact that instead of actually doing the AMP program advancement or adding some extra things like the steps counter idea some people have had, they've done the texture update and the art update. So they'd rather them work on the other items. So, as far as I know, the AMP program update is still on the board and still being worked on. So, and like I said, although the steps idea is a good thing, I think it's not something they've talked about as far as adding to the game. Lady Sharon says, okay, you had me worried there for a moment. I like the art, but to be honest, they could redo it in a pink polka dot style, and I wouldn't care as long as the gameplay essential mechanics remain the same and they didn't nerf anything. Anyway, the two main additions I'd like to see more than any art change that I believe should be easy to program would be a compass, and I'm not talking about the diamond wheel. I mean a little circle in the top right below my Atlas Bucks box that just simply tells me which way is north. The most annoying thing is standing in a parking lot trying to figure out which way the diamond is, not like the astronaut guy helps. He tends to walk in circles. That is true. The one thing I would like to, in a redo of screens, is that I'm sure 1 million people have asked before, is what the heck my points are on the ladder. Sure, I can do a ballpark of here where it is, but that 1455 or 1435 that I actually have, it could make a big difference when I'm trying to finish. I have finished this month, by the way, and I always seem to miss stuff when I try to add it by hand, but just put the dang total points I've earned on top of the ladder screen. Well, this is a popular item people bring up. I don't think they're going to do that because what they're trying to do is keep that very, basically encourage you to play more than you would have. If you know the exact total and you're going to play an extra mini game, game. They want you to go ahead and play that extra mini game. They don't want you to hold out and get it exactly right. So I don't think that they're going to. It's kind of like the idea of how they don't give you a total on the page that has all your parcels, because they want you to go over tier, because when you go over tier, you're saving them money, right? So it's just kind of the idea. So good idea, but I don't think you're going to see it. Ricky Ticky Tarvey says, just logged in and have the new twirly arrow for diamonds. Yeah, that's on the compass. So the UK has rolled out. Yes, it has. Everybody's rolled out as far as I know at this point. Pesh says, well, I haven't seen new of the upgrades yet. Maybe it's taking longer on my end, but it's still the same for me. If you haven't seen updates yet, go to the App Store and download the update, force the update. Audrey Starr says, I'm so confused. I did get an update today, and the game had maintenance, I believe, yesterday, but nothing art-wise has changed on my end. On top of that, my game looks nothing like your old one. I have no idea. My game is an astronaut guy standing on a gray grid type surface, no trees or anything, and my squares of land I bought are all just bright green. You know what? This sounds like your phone is having trouble loading textures, or there's some kind of graphics setting that is off, because you should have trees and such, because the trees generally dictate the trees and bigger shrubbery and everything are on like epic and legendary parcels, and then like a regular green is a common. So it may be in your graphics settings. Check on your graphics settings on your phone, and if you continue to have a problem, I'd put in a ticket and see what they have to say. Suzanne Boonstra says, I thought they got rid of the referral codes. Well, the referral system is still currently out of the works, or out of the game. They're working on it. They haven't said what was wrong with it and what they're doing with it. But if you still have an old code, you can still use it. Like I'm still using an old code from like last year. So if you want to start playing the game and you're brand new to Atlas Earth, use my code in the show notes. Get yourself 200 free Atlas bucks when you hit your 11th parcel. Okay, let's see here. Swarley says, I wouldn't say they changed everything. Essentially, the game is the same, just a different look. I do have a question about your video the other day where you explained selling parcels. I get that you can list, albeit most probably pointlessly, as prospective buyers have no clue, for Atlas bucks. But what if you want to cash out? I assume you can't sell parcels for US. Yeah, that's kind of referring to what I said earlier. You can't sell for US dollars. You can sell for Atlas bucks. And as far as I know, there's really no way to convert Atlas bucks into US dollars. The whole game is made so that you just use your Atlas bucks, you make Atlas bucks, you turn around and buy more parcels to make more actual rent. So it's not like a Web3 game where you have an NFT that you can actually sell for crypto and then convert to US dollars or whatever your currency is. So hope that answers that. Brantastic says, I think we're getting out of space and going into farmland type of environment. Yeah, I agree. It's more like the adventurer, like, with the compass and things like that to go along with the Explorer Club. Dennis O'Brien says, like it. Thanks, Bronze Dragon. Well, thanks, Dennis. Thanks for leaving a comment. Appreciate all the comments you leave on my videos, everybody. They do help out, and they show YouTube interaction with the video, so pushes it out to more people. Scottman says, what's your Atlas name? And I replied, it's Bronze Dragon. The last O in Bronze Dragon is a 0. Enclaved Envision X says they are making the game ugly AF. Well, I think that's just all a personal choice. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I prefer the more realistic version, but I can understand that the new version or the new look will be much less graphics intensive on phones and batteries. So I guess it's a toss-up. Stuart Lee says, since the update, I can't watch ads so can't boost or anything. So I encourage Stuart to put a ticket in. Whenever you're having a problem like that, the first thing you should do is put a ticket in through the app. If you can't get into the app, put it in through the website, log into the website, because they'll be the ones that could help you. Brantastic says, I wonder if anybody plays on iPads or tablets for more land space. A lot of people have said that they like to play the mini games on tablets for a little bit extra space. As far as actually walking around, I think a phone is handier, but who knows? Johan says they reskin the app because they want to rebrand the app as a game, and because of it, people will spend more money on it. This is done because the monetization of the app is broken from the beginning. Buying a parcel and generate rent from it has nothing to do with the new art style they will introduce. The whole Indiana Jones vibe is a laugh. Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess everybody has their own take on it. I don't think that the monetization is broken. Otherwise, the company, I don't think, would be in this position to actually put money into reskinning the app. A company that's doing poorly isn't putting money into redoing the artwork on the game. They're just trying to get the money out of the game that they possibly could. But Suzanne says the new art is ugly. Mini Funny says Atlas is a big scam, and I replied, as I always reply to these comments, why do you feel? Why do you think it's a scam? And I've never had anybody reply to me with proof of why it's a scam. I've been playing it for 13 months. If I thought it was a scam, I wouldn't continue to do videos on it. In fact, I'd probably do a video the other way, warning people not to play. But I've earned a decent amount of money off of it, and I'm still having fun with it. So Mike Williams gets the last reply, says, a waste of time and resources. They should focus on improving gameplay features like the badge system, amp missions, and adding new countries. I think that all that is still in the works. Okay, as far as I know, all of that is still in the works for this year. It's just that they've subcontracted another company to actually, redo the art. So, okay, well, this has been Bronze Dragon taking a look at the comments from a recent video discussing the new artwork or reskin option going into Atlas Earth. Who knows? Expect it to filter in over as time goes along. So let me know in the comments what you think. Otherwise, remember to stop by on Sunday at noon and discuss Atlas Earth with us. Otherwise, I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And hey, I'll see you in Atlas Earth.